Hello. Pardon my appearance. I may or may not have slept all day, but I wanted to make this video because something really meteoric happened to me recently. Back in April, I had the person, oh no, oh, it's just the leaf. I was like, my screen is broken. Back in April on 4/20 was the last time that I had contact with my FP. If you don't know what an FP is, you're not alone, because I didn't even know what it was until just like 2 days ago or something. So if you don't know what an FP is, it's basically a term that was used to describe a relationship in someone with BPD's life. If you don't know what BPD is, let me explain. So BPD is a psychological disorder. It's categorized as a personality disorder in the DSM-5 or whatever that's called, which is basically just like a way to diagnose different types of mental illness. In my experience, BPD is something that happens to you. It's not like schizophrenia or bipolar or something that's like genetic and runs in families and stuff. To me, the research I've done and like my experience in life, it usually is developed in people who have really severe trauma relating to their like childhood, their upbringing, their close like familial relationships. So it's not something that that just you're born with. It's something that happens to you, like when your parents are abusive to you, when your peers are abusive to you, when you have really toxic, sad, broken relationships with people, it manifests. Personally for me, I can attribute my BPD, which I've never been clinically diagnosed, but I don't need to be, because when you read something that says, oh, if you have 4 out of 9 of these things, it's likely you probably have BPD. I have all 9. Like, I have every single symptom possible of this disorder, of this situation. And it's really hard. But learning about this disorder I can't even explain how much comfort it actually brings me to know that, one, this isn't my fault. This happened to me. This isn't something that I did. This isn't something that I'm like helpless to cope with. There are people who have it. There's treatment. There's therapy for it. And I can heal. And there are other people who suffer with this same thing. And I recently met someone who has it on Bumble. And we connected instantly. We just started talking. We were sending each other like gigantic, huge messages where we just were exchanging ideas and stories and personal information about ourselves that was like so similar. And it was seriously like an instantaneous, very strong connection. And it was just like, wow. Because my last relationship it ended in June of last year, but we still had like a thing going after I broke up with him. But he was my FP. So meeting this new person on Bumble, learning that they have BPD, learning that they have ADHD, and they have all these other psychological issues that I have, and it was so amazing. It's just like, wow. One, I'm very attracted to you because there's some familiarity with you that I can see and feel that you understand me. The second thing is that I'm attracted to it because it helps me learn more about myself. So an FP is your favorite person, and you can have more than one apparently, but your main person, your main FP is, for lack of a better explanation, is kind of like a parent, honestly. Like, you seek out and you find somebody who has the patience and the compassion and love and understanding and gentleness to like understand you when most people would want to hit the hills, because they would see what you're doing as very codependent, which it is. It is. Like when you have a favorite person, you're codependent on them. You can learn, I think, over time how to be more interdependent and like have healthy boundaries and learn to not rely on that person so much. But essentially, they're like a parent. You're looking to them for guidance when you don't know what to do, when you're anxious, when you need guidance and you need support and you need validation, you need encouragement, you need just someone to be there, like just to know that there's someone there that like loves you and isn't going to leave you. Because with BPD, we catastrophize situations. If something bad happens with a friend, you're like, oh, that friendship's down the toilet. Like, bye, bitch. You're prepared to just snip any connection in your life. Doesn't matter how important it is, doesn't matter how long you've known the person, what you've been through with the person. Like, you are ready to preserve yourself by leaving any situation, any scenario, any relationship. You have a ripcord in your being, in your mind, in your heart. You're like ready to pull it anytime when the slightest thing happens, because it could be a pattern. It could be one red flag in a row of red flags, you know? And so when you've been abandoned and you've been damaged and hurt and betrayed so badly, it's a coping mechanism. You don't want to experience that pain anymore, and you don't want to do it ever again. You want only to be in relationships where you're safe, but you never do feel safe. Even though you should feel safe, you don't, because your patterns have repeated so many times. You've been through this story, you've lived this out so many times, or maybe just a couple good times, that you're like, the risk is too high. The reward is so uncertain and the risk is certain in your mind. So any relationship, you're just like ready to leave because you've been left. And if you leave first, you don't have to worry about someone leaving you. So there's one side of it. And then the other part of it is when you have a favorite person, it's the person that you want to leave the least. Like, you pick one person and you're like, everyone else in my life, they could leave me high and dry and I'd be like, whatever, I expected that, I was fine with that. But your FP, you're like, please do not leave me. I don't ever want this friendship to end. I don't ever want this bond to fall apart. Like, I need you. And you're my world. And when I wake up, I'm thinking about you. And when I go throughout my day, I want to talk to you all day. And when you don't respond to me fast enough, I get really anxious. And like, if I notice a switch in the tone, or like you send really long replies all day and then all of a sudden you're sending short replies, you're panicking, you're going, I knew it, this person doesn't want me in their life anymore, they're bored of me, they're tired of me, they're gonna leave. Like, I need to prepare for my life without this person right now. I need to cut them out of my life. I need to start, like, I've started to just like sleep all day because my nervous system was so tied up with this person and our interactions that I was like, I'd rather not be awake than spend another moment awake, conscious that this person hasn't replied yet. And then you fall asleep because you're so exhausted, you're so on edge all day. You fall asleep, you wake up hours later, you check your phone immediately when you wake up because you're like, my FP, like, I need them to talk to me. Maybe they did, maybe the few hours I was asleep, they messaged me back. You check your phone, they don't answer, they haven't replied, and you're just like, everything just starts to spiral, and you feel so pathetic for that because you're like, why? I should not be falling apart at the seams. I should not be spiraling down the toilet bowl just because this person didn't message me within this period of time, which is different every time. Because if that person tells you, hey, I'm going to Six Flags, I'm going to the beach, I'm going to Mexico, or whatever, I'm going to be gone, I'm going to be busy, not going to have service, that's fine. If you know that, that's fine. But when you don't know that, short periods of time not hearing from someone can seem like forever. They can feel like a fucking eternity. And it's really hard. And my FP dumped me on my ass. I dumped him, and then I've regretted it. And I've spent every day since then regretting it and wanting to fix it and make this right and have this person back in my life again. And nothing I have done has worked. They've come back, they've tried to reconnect, and then they've just split off again. They've ghosted me. They've done like over and over and over. And I can't explain like the torture that has caused me to have my FP want something to do with me and then change their mind, and then want something to do with me and then be confused. And and not know if it's me, not know if it's them, not know if there's something I can do, but just have to like let go. Just have to be able to survive without them. And it was really hard. I spent an entire year trying to mourn and grieve and pull myself back up again and become myself again. And it was hard because all I wanted was to just fall back into the old patterns. I used to abuse drugs. I used to drink. I used to be promiscuous. I used to, you know, go to parties and be really impulsive and crazy and reckless. And like bury myself in a video game or a TV series or, you know, something to escape. I would practice really extreme escapism. And I don't do that anymore. I dig more into presence. I dig more into my health and my wellness whenever I start to feel myself spiraling. I'm like, I need to be okay. I cannot spiral and lose myself in this person. Like, they are important to me, but I should be more important to myself, and I should be stable without this person. So if you have BPD, or you have something similar, or you have, you know, the phenomena of an FP, like someone who's just so special and important to your life, and you feel like you can't function without them, you can. You can. You will be just fine. I promise you. You don't need that person. You don't need their validation. You don't need their support. It may feel like you do. It may feel like you're dying without them. It may feel like you can't imagine your life and how you could possibly go on without this person's love in your life. But you don't need them. And if they were supposed to be in your life, they would. If they loved you, they would show you. And you don't need to idolize or put anyone on a pedestal who doesn't care about you in just a basic foundational way that they want to be there for you. But it can also be incredibly scary to be someone's FP. To have someone rely on you so heavily and to feel like they are going to crumble if they don't have you. What a trip. Where are you? And I'm so sorry. What a fucking fitting song. I cannot sleep. I cannot dream tonight. That's an FP anthem. Where are you? If you don't understand what just happened, someone just drove by in a car full of people. There was probably 8 people in this little Kia Soul. And they were playing Blink-182. And inside, my friend is playing a flute. Let's listen. Ready? Oh, I just saw a hummingbird.